Hey, what's up, people? This is for Skyrim, aka Ace from ConsoleControllers.com. I highly recommend that you go to my website. The link will be in the description. Um, welcome to Skyrim session number 7. Yep, I believe it's 7. Um, in this episode, we had, some new pictures that has been released, and these pictures are pretty much amazing. I mean, it just makes the wait longer. It makes the wait more, excruciating. So, I mean, this is something that you might not want to look at if if you're really fiending, if you need that rehab from Skyrim. Don't look at it. Don't look at this video because it's only gonna make it worse. I mean, I'm doing this to help you, you guys out there that's fiending. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into these new screenshots. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, all right, this is the first one. At first glance, it's just okay. Yeah, it's just a scenery picture. Oh well, that's okay. But it's a couple things I wanted to point out that I noticed and I liked in the picture. One thing is, the most obvious thing is, I believe this is Solitude. This whole area is Solitude, and the city is called Solitude. Um, Not the area, the city. But this is amazing how the architecture is like. They decided they wanted to build a city on top of a rock formation because two things: because they can, and because it looks cool. Nah, I don't know if there's anything behind that, but it looks very good though. I love it. So, and also, just the location itself is pretty secluded, pretty discreet. You know, for the most part, it lives up to the name. Solitude, being away from everything, by itself, solitary. So I like that. I like how, like, pretty much the whole theme of this is that. And you see the arch right here, like there's a little opening in between the rocks, and I believe there's water down here, like a river that runs under this arch where boats come in and out and do some trading with with the city. Now what I will say is I would like to see actual like boats like coming in and out, because that's something that you didn't see in Oblivion. In Oblivion, you seen like boats, but they were always docked at bays or something like that. You never see no boats coming in, no boats coming out, stuff like that. You didn't see that much people, like storing goods or taking goods off boats. Um, like pretty much what a dock should be. A lot of different craziness going on. So yeah, I would like to see that. That's something I wanted to mention. But besides that, like I said, it's epic. I love how I believe it might be the city might even be a part of this mountain right here. And this is a pretty tall mountain. It's not the tallest in the game, but it's pretty tall. And I believe you can see some clouds from this, just clouds from the sky here forming on the mountain and partly on the city. So maybe this city is like always foggy because it's so high. um, the clouds are actually in the city. So that's something to point out. But I just love the whole atmosphere of this area. It fits the name. It's to me it's darker than your average. It's not a bright day. It might not ever be a bright day over here because this is far up north of Skyrim. You see a lot of fog, the clouds in the sky and stuff like that, dead trees. And I like how the dead trees actually look different from each other. Like all of these trees look different. Like this one comes out like that and it has a little part. This one over here comes out also like that, but not the same way as this one. Also, this tree, has a nice thing going on. And finally, this one is different from everything else. So for the most part, you don't really see trees repeating, just like rinse and repeat type of thing. There actually variety in the trees, and I love that. And I feel like that adds a lot more realism to the game, a subtle realism, something that's subconsciously thought of, but it's still thought of. So, having that said, I'm going to move on to the next picture. Let's go ahead and do that. Bam. Okay, this picture I love. I mean, just everything about it. I love the way the picture looks, just the way it like just sets on your eyes. I mean, it's ridiculous, and there's a lot of things about this picture. Well, let's talk about the plants first. Yeah, you have your green trees in the background, your pine trees and everything like that, but you also have dead trees, indicating that it's actually pretty cold in this environment, and only certain trees are alive, like this one. Also, when you get closer, you actually start to see the actual lighting and shadowing. Like, look at the lighting and shadowing from another tree. You never had that in Oblivion. You had lighting, but it wasn't this detailed and realistic. Also, you can just look at the texture, just the amount of different lines and ridges and cuts and moss on the top, and then you see all different types of detail just in the stuff. Some people don't sit back and appreciate this type of stuff. That some people don't stop and look at these things when they're playing the game. They just tunnel vision. Just their minds is so set to play a linear game. It's so linear that they just tunnel vision it out. Like, let's say if somebody was playing Uncharted, they may not look at the waterfalls in the background. May not look at the vistas and stuff like that. They may just be focused on what they're shooting, stuff like that. But this also adds to the game because it adds variety and it adds, a lot of depth to the game. These tree stumps are actually broken also, but they look different. They just plain out look different. There's no repeat right here. This one has like a kind of two thing going on, one over here and then one right here. Then you also have see the bigger one and then the dead tree. But the thing I like the most is these plants right here. These plants have a nice, very nice, distinctive look, and they look like they are very rare. Like you can only find them in certain places. So I also like that. But what I will say is I would like to see in plants like this. I would like to see them glow in the dark. Just to add to that fantasy setting, for the simple fact that it'll be nice to just like see a forest that's like pitch black, that's really dark, and then you go to a certain area and there's all of a sudden there's like this this forest or these plants that just glow in the dark, just nice and bright and stuff like that, that may attract animals or whatever. So I like that. Another thing I wanted to mention was that this carving of this person is different from the original person that we seen that looked like a mage. He's also some type of mage. He may be a wizard. He may be a bard. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that, but what I will say, he has a staff in his hand, so you can categorize him as using magic. But he also has different clothes. He doesn't look exactly like that mage that we saw in the gameplay trailers. So also he has the wizard looking hat. That's that made me further think that he is a wizard or he is a magic user. So anyways, I love how this standing stove just looks. I mean, the amount of detail and the rock right here, the designs, the unique designs that you never really saw, um, in other games and stuff like that. Like the standing stones were cool in Oblivion. I could say that yeah, they did have designs. I'm not gonna say that, but I just like the way it's done. It's very well done, like a cone type of design to it, structure. So let's go on to the next one. Oh, hold on. One thing I wanted to mention was the water. The water pretty much complements this picture. You have a lot of greens, you have a lot of grays. You do have a touch of purple here, a touch of green over here. Some whites in the background, but that blue just stands out. It really, everything else is just like everything else comes together when you have that blue standing out. And that's just looking at the picture. So I love that. But I'm gonna move on to the next one. Let's see what we got next. Okay, this one I'm not going to talk too much about, but what I will comment on, this is the tundra, and having that said, I don't really like the whole idea behind tundras. Like tundras is pretty much a wide open land that pretty much has nothing in it, like no trees, no greenery, no grass, no nothing. It's just grasslands basically. So my whole thing about that is, it's cool, that they have it in here. It's adds a little variety inside the land within the land of Skyrim. But at the same time, it to me it just takes away from the content. Like I would much rather like a dead forest, like a forest that's unique. Like, why is the trees all dead? Like, why is everything dead here? You know, like a something that's intriguing, an intriguing location that you wouldn't normally see anywhere else. So that's what I said, that, actually, if I to kind of go a little bit further with that comment I just said about the dead forest, if it was one like that, I would like to see a whole bunch of dead trees like that, like I was saying, kind of like this a Sleepy Hollow esque environment. On top of that, I would like it to, have like undead creatures, fog, like just a setting that's very, very, distinct, and also you know, um, it's mysterious, a mysterious land. Why is it like this, So that's something that I wanted to talk about. But anyways, back to this tundra. Tundra looks great. I love the backdrop, the mountains. You never really seen this in Oblivion. The mountains did not look like mountains in Oblivion. Let's just be honest. The mountains look like giant hills. These actually look like mountains, and jagged, rugged mountains. So, it looks amazing at day. It probably looks even better at night because you see the silhouette of it. So I love that. But that's pretty much it with this part, this section. Like I say, the graphics. I mean, you really didn't see this much detail that far out in Oblivion. So I love how they did that. So the graphics is great, and also I wanted to mention that this is a 360. So I would, I can only imagine what's going on the PC. So this picture right here, I love it. But it's kind of weird, when I first when I first looked at it, I just thought, okay, a person with a knife in his hand, the obvious knife, slit in the throat. But then I looked closer and I seen that he had another knife in his other hand, and this one looks different. It looks like it's rounded and then it curves around. And I was wondering, okay, that's nice, but what is this up here? Is this another blade? Is this something on top of the orc's head? So I thought about it. I was like, maybe this blade right here just got stuck through the orc skull, and it came through the top. Now that would be amazing. That would be, that would probably be one of my first things to do, just be an assassin if that's in the game. If you can do those types of kill animations, like sneak up behind somebody and do something like that. And we never seen a dual wielding kill animation, stealth animation, but we have seen a single weapon stealth animation kill. So what I will say is, there's variety in the way you kill things. But what I will say is, having that said, I don't really need that variety because I've been playing Gears of War, with some other games that have executions. God of War, the executions don't get redundant. Like, no matter how many times you do it, VATS and Fallout, blowing somebody's head off, it doesn't get redundant. As many times you play it, it never gets old. So for everybody that's fearing about that, oh, it might get old seeing the same animation. A lot of people say that, but they don't realize that they already played games already that had that in it, and they never got tired of it until somebody brings that point up to them. So that's that with this character. Oh, no, what I did want to say is this character looks really dark, really scary, really intimidating. Like, he fits the description of what he is. Like, he's an assassin. Okay, he looks like an assassin. He pale skin. I don't know if that's black eyes or red eyes. I don't even know if this is a Dumber. It looks like a Dumber, but it might not be. So it's just like very, very like sinister and dark, almost the same as a Sith in Star Wars or something like that. And then he has the hood and stuff like that. Just pretty much darkness. That's what he is. And one last thing I wanted to say: this orc looks amazing because the beard looks very good, very well done. It looks like an actual beard, and he looks intimidating also with the large teeth coming out of his mouth, and on top of that, the wrinkles, the amount of detail, the shadows, everything, the red eyes, everything just fits right in this game. It seems to be fitting right. Now I don't know what this background is. It just looks like something in Fallout 3. This looks like textures from Fallout 3. Like, let's say Megaton inside when you get that house. It looks kind of like that house when you walk in the house. It reminds me too much of that. But maybe I'm just not getting a good look of it. Maybe that's just stone wall in the background. And actually, I just noticed this. This looks like a structure, a stone structure or something like that. So maybe this is inside the dungeon. But in any case, let's move on to the next one. Um, wow, 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 wow. First thing I want to say is blue is my favorite color because I mean, when I saw this pick, man, I was in love with this pick. This is by far my favorite pick that I've ever seen been released on Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. And there is a lot going on in this picture. I mean, there's almost too much going on. It's just so rich. Like my brother said the other day, I mean, when he saw the picture, I was like, what did you think about it? Because I made an article on a website with this picture on it. He was like, wow, it looks rich. And I was telling him, that's how the game is. It's not like it's a cut scene or it's, something that you see off in the background or something like that, but you're actually playing in these environments. You see all types of stuff like this with the god rays coming out. Then you'll go to a different place with waterfalls and the fall forest, all types of stuff. So I wanted to get him understand, and everybody else that's kind of curious about Elder Scrolls in general that don't play it, that this is how the game is when you're actually playing it. It looks this good, and then so then we go into like detail. You see this magical looking statue in the background. It looks like it's emitting magic from it. Then it also has god rays coming from the top of the dungeon. So I'm guessing that this blue magic is making these rays of light blue. Therefore, it's making this whole color palette blue. And I love that, man, because you never seen nothing like that in Oblivion. I want to stress that because the amount of detail in this is like almost mind-boggling, and it is mind-boggling. So also you see, in the background, you see the statue. I believe this statue is the same as this other statue over here. They're just in different locations, and this is another one that looks the same as the other two, but this one is broken, showing that this dungeon is old, and some stuff happened. Everything is not perfect and pristine. In the background you see the two other Draugrs, um, you know, right there coming to support the Draugr Death Lord. That's the name of this Draugr. Draugrs are pretty much undead. They're not zombies, but they're not skeletons. They're just pretty much just picture somebody um, put inside of a casket, like buried, for a lot of years. Not too many years that they're a skeleton, but a lot of years, and their body is pretty much nothing. That's what they are like, and you know, of course, since they're undead, they have their soul is still in them. So, what I wanted to point out is, the first thing I wanted to point out was the amount of detail in his face. Look at his eye sockets. Look how it looks like he's dead. It looks like his eye sockets deteriorated, and also his eyes itself. I don't know if you guys ever seen like a dead fish with the eyes that had like a film over it to make the eyes look like very um, like washed out, look very bland, and it lost the color. That's the amount of detail that they went with on these eyes, and just look how the eyes look different. This eye looks different from that eye, and that's to be expected because they decompose differently. And it's crazy how you can go to that like small amount of detail, but that has to be recognized to show how grand and how epic this stuff is. A lot of people, they look at the most obvious things, and they try to judge a game off of that. Like, okay, this is a scene with a monster and he has an axe and they're about to fight each other, and they just leave it like that. But they don't understand, that there's a lot of detail. There's a lot of things going on. You don't really see this on a daily basis. You don't see this on just any game. So also I wanted to point out, his armor looks very good, and it has the designs in it, and his helmet, I mean, man, it's pretty much make him look like the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he looks very intimidating, and it looks right. That's the thing about it. In Oblivion, sometimes helmets didn't look right. Sometimes, like it just didn't fit right. It didn't look good on the character. Right here, everything just looks like it fits right to his head. It's just there, like it's a part of him. His armor is a part of him, and he has a shoulder place and stuff like that. And it just makes me feel like that these guys really are undead, Nords. So having all that said, and that's just the Death Lord, Jargon Death Lord. Let's talk about the weapons now. Look at the amount of detail in this axe. Now, I believe this is a elven axe, just for the simple fact that it resembles like wings. Like this resembles wings, and this has like bird-like feathers on it right here. So I think this is an elven axe, and I love how they have symbols on it. If you notice, they have symbols on it. So that made me think that this is an enchanted weapon, and not enchanted in the sense that, oh, it has electricity or it's frost enchanted or fire enchanted. This may be enchanted with a certain spell, maybe turn undead, and maybe when you enchant a weapon with turn undead, you get these symbols on it. So that's something to think about, and I love that how they went into that much detail. So it's very nice. Actually, I think if you even see right here, this looks like a head of a bird, and that's amazing, man. To go in that amount of detail on just your weapons, put that much variety is crazy. Next weapon right here, this is the weapon that this Draugr Deathlord is actually holding, which is I believe another axe. You just can't see it, it's getting cut off. One-handed axe too. This one looks, I believe it's ebony, but I'm not sure. But this one looks amazing. Look at the markings and insignias on it. It's just out of this world. It's like how do you do that? How do you get into that much detail? And it looks right. Like everything just comes together. You see the candles in the background, the lighting, the Draugr himself, the weapons, and we're not even hearing the sound, the gameplay. So that's just something to think about and get you even more hyped about Skyrim. I didn't even think it was possible, but that's pretty much what it is. Now this is probably my second favorite out of the batch. I love this picture. This picture is worth 1,000 words, so I'm gonna very try to do this quickly and talk about it. First thing you guys probably noticed, the most obvious thing is that the aurora in the background, the night sky that's emitting light in a very fantasy-esque way. I love that. And also, having that said, you can actually, like, the clouds look so realistic, like little small broken up clouds right here. Clouds that's huge like this. It's just so convincing. It's convincing. This looks like a something that someone took in a picture in real life. Like, if you guys get Skyrim out your head and just look at this picture, this looks like a real life picture. And that's what I think Bethesda has been striving for years. For years, they get better and better. And how far can we push this? How far can we push that? So also on the glaciers, you see like the cold air, the cold wind, just kicking up, particles of ice, along the way. You see little icebergs in the background, the stars, the nice, very nice looking stars. Another iceberg, a random boat. What is this boat? I want to go here. That's one thing about this game. This is not just actual, like I'm stressing, this is not an actual backdrop. This is actually gameplay. I can actually, like, just picture your character, you playing, you're right here. I can walk from here all the way over here, all the way to that city over there. That's how you put it in perspective. I can like jump on these different glaciers, go from place to place, go in the water. I could probably go as far as I can down in the water, probably find like a sunken boat or something. You see a boat over here. What is this boat doing out here? You see one boat out here. You're like, okay, maybe there's different stuff out here. Maybe there's items. Maybe there's dungeons. So that's why I said it's worth, this picture is worth 1,000 things. And one last thing I wanted to say is just look at the overall mountain. I believe this is Solitude in the background, but that's a city back there. But look at the detail in the mountains also in the background. Um, you know, in Oblivion, you would see a mountain in the distance, but you wouldn't see detail with it. If so, it was minimal, but it wasn't on this scale right here. This is just insane and very convincing. I honestly think that this is PC screenshot though, because it looks so good. If that's 360, I mean, man, You guys are doing great, and I have the PC, so I'm just my eyes are gonna melt. Um, so in this picture, this is the orc. I love the way how they went into detail, and his face. His face is pretty much you know you see the wrinkles, you see the scar. Um, I love the shadowing. You see the different shadows like casting on him as as he's fighting, so it makes you like feel more there. Um, and I love the armor. The plating on the side. You see the little spikes coming out of the side. And if you guys notice that this is the same armor that we've been seeing 1,000 times. It's just that I believe what he did was he crafted new armor and attached different things on the original armor that he had. So he probably attached the shoulder pads, attached another shoulder pad, attached the side skirt, different stuff like that. We also seen a picture where they attached the skull, actual skull, on the side. I don't have that picture now, but I seen one like that. So that's a lot of detail that they go into. I love the hammer that he has. This particular orc, he kind of reminds me of a samurai, like just the way he looks. He kind of looks kind of oriental to me. Just I don't know, for some reason he does. But I do know one thing that if you look at the orcish armor and the past games of Elder Scrolls, those armors look like samurai armor. So for the most part, if I am going to play an orc. So when I play an orc, I might role play that. I might say, I want to like use katanas or something like that, or use the armor every now and then and just use the blunt weapons. So that's something to think about. And it's crazy how just playing as an orc, you can say, okay, maybe I want to be more strictly to the heritage, and be like, more like, a blunt type of orc. That's kind of like not intelligent, really strong, use blunt weapons, you know, or you can also go the way that I'm going, which is like, okay, I'm gonna play like a samurai. I wanna, still have that orc mentality, but still, have different the types of things I wear, the type of weapons I use, maybe a little different. Um, but as far as this, you see all the detail, moss in the background, moss on the ground, bags, fire. It looks so good, man. It looks so good. So. And I believe this is the final picture, and this is the one I love a lot for plenty of reasons. First, most obvious reason is this guard. This guard, his helmet. You never seen nothing like that in Oblivion. You will see actual helmets, like the helmet would just be right here, go to the top, and then come to the back. But you never seen an actual mask on the helmets, a mask attached to the helmets. And that's insane because that's to me that brings the intimidation level like to 100 when you add in that mask. He looks kind of like the executioner. You can't really see his face. Like he looks intimidating. Like it looks ridiculous. So I love that. Love the picture. And also his clothes. Look at his clothes. It looks very, to me, I can kind of say exotic because this is something that I wouldn't kind of expect. Like this wrap right here kind of reminds me of a Muslim type country. Um, this helmet kind of reminds me of Crusade or something type of armor, and then the scales are like dragon scales, and just a lot of stuff going on just with his armor and just the way he is. And the thing that complements everything is, of course, his tattoo. Look at his tattoo. It goes very good with these dragon scales right there. So I love that. And another thing is he's actually posing. He has his arms folded. You didn't see that on Oblivion. Guards would just literally stand there with their hands at their side and just like stare at nothing. Like, they'll move about every now and then, but you wouldn't see them actually doing like realistic poses and different things like that. And this right here just makes them look more intimidating. So ideally, what I would like them to do is make the the guards, walk around, move around, something like that. But at the same time, I also want them to. No, not I don't want them, but I love how they have the arms folded. So even if this guard was just having his arms folded the whole time and everything like that, that's more acceptable than just having your hands at your side and just staring at nothing. Because this adds a little bit more personality to it. I love the sheath, the blade, everything looks right. And another thing I wanted to point out is now the lighting is so good. If the sun is a certain direction, certain areas, certain like like this is a prime example. Certain areas may have this occur, which is the shadow is going to be shadows when you're walking in this walkway. It's going to be darker than walking back outside, like right here. And that just adds a whole different level of realism. Again, this is only a subconscious type of thing. You know, this is something that you don't really think about when you're playing the game, but it just adds that realism to make you feel like you're in the game. Um, and you know, I would like to see that expanded on in different situations where this right here is happening. You know, often, very often, because it happens in real life. So that's that with all the pictures that I had. Overall, I am highly impressed. I love the game. I can't wait for the game to come out. You know, this is kind of hurting me right here, but you know, it is what it is. But before I let you guys go, I did want to talk about a couple of things, more things. One thing was I wanted to know what did you guys think about racial features. Like they do have racial abilities or racial abilities. They do have racial abilities for each character, each race, or something like that. But I want to kind of see it expanded on. For example, like let's say a Khajiit. Yes, he has the claw now, the claw attack. But I would like to also, you know, hear him like roar like a cat, or a big cat, or maybe you know, go as far as to make him run, like have the ability to run on all fours when he wants to take off or pounce on somebody and bite them and stuff like that. You know, different things like that will be very nice as far as like taking it to a step further. But what I will say is by Bethesda adding in the claw attack to the Khajiits, that kind of like makes it a lot better. Um, so I know they're going in the right direction. The next Elder Scrolls is going to be phenomenal as always, but this one is going to be nothing to forget. And I may even still play this game even when the new one comes out. Um, I don't know if I'm going to keep playing Oblivion or Morrowind, um, but I might. This just might get the majority of the attention. But anyways, so that's why I wanted to see what you guys thought. Do you guys think they should expand on racial abilities? If so, what races should have what abilities? You guys come up with some nice ideas. I want to hear what your thoughts are in the description. Another thing is, since there's been confirmed there's no arena in Skyrim. Um, I wanted to know, you know, what do you guys think should like supplement for the arena? Are you guys just okay with bar fights? Is that your new arena, or would you like something a little bit more detailed, like a pit, like with gates? Me personally, I would like to see a pit with like gates around it, like a big like circular pit with gates around it, and the gates will be similar to like what you'll see at a zoo. Those typical gates that you see at a zoo, and pretty much you know anything could fight anything in there, like a person fight a person, a creature fight a person, creature versus creature. But you know, I just want some type of like arena-esque environment that you could just go in there and fight um, at a limited rate. I know you can go into the wilderness and fight things, but I want something that a place that I could go to and like primarily do that if I wanted to. So that's just something that I wanted to talk about. So you guys let me know if that's a good idea, or if you had your own idea, maybe that would be better. Also, I wanted to know, are you upset that there's no arena in Skyrim, or you know you didn't really care about it? So you know, that's all I have for now. It hasn't been that much new information that's been released. There has been some 3-hour demos, previews, mostly positive. A lot of people love Skyrim and stuff like that. But for the most part, we didn't get like brand new information from those previews. There was just, you know, they had more time, so they did more things, but it wasn't, you know, um, exactly what it could be if they had the game in their hands. Also, one final thing, very disappointing thing, a lot of people brought to my attention that there's no werewolves in the game. Um, And they said that in an interview, um, they questioned, I don't know, somebody from Bethesda. They questioned them and asked them if werewolves going to be DLC, and they said maybe yes, maybe yes. So most likely it's probably going to be DLC, but they also said that werewolves are not in the game right now, so are not in the full game. So don't expect werewolves when you go into Skyrim. Don't go on a massive uh, werewolf journey. Looking for werewolves when you get Skyrim. Now, so I'm just letting you know ahead of time. It's kind of upsetting to me because you guys see what kind of videos I put out about werewolves and stuff like that. But at the same time, I already know that this game doesn't even need werewolves to be good. This game is going to be amazing. As a matter of fact, werewolves compared to everything else is probably like nothing. It's pretty much nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna be so like drawn into this world when we get the game, is we're gonna forget about werewolves. Like that's not even gonna be on our minds. So having that said, this is my Skyrim session number 7. If you guys had any, comments or ideas that you want me to talk about in the next one, go ahead and leave it on my page. I do want you guys to comment and post more often on my page. Some people are doing it, but I would like to see more. Um, Also, in the future videos like this, what I'm going to end up doing is like I'm not going to force the videos and have them in a certain amount of times. It's going to be natural. If there's new information, I'll put out a video. If it's something that I thought about, I'll put out a video. But I'm not just going to do a video just to do it. Um, so having that said, I will have new videos, new series coming in, stuff like that, stuff to look forward to on my channel. But you guys bear with me, if you don't see me for a couple of days, don't please don't act like I'm don't tell me are you ask me if I'm dead or something like that. Somebody posted that on one of the comments on my page. I'm not dead. I just don't have nothing, important to talk about with Skyrim, and I don't want to bore you guys. So um having that said, I think that's it. So I'll see y'all later. Peace.